What's up, fanatics? James Brown here, coming to you live. Now, listen, guys, we are ending December, which means we are ending 2019, which means we are ending the decade of the 2010s. And as horror fans, this was one hell of a decade. Possibly the best decade we've had so far, if you really think of top to bottom. We had James Wan make his mark and become a huge mainstay of horror. We had Michael Myers return. We had Suspiria being remade. We had a superhero horror movie. We had so many different things happen this year, this decade. It's just phenomenal. It was a great, great time to be a horror fan. But what are the best movies of the decade? I'm here to answer that for you, giving you my perspective, my opinion only. I cannot wait to hear your opinion as well. Leave a description, leave your opinion and your comments in the comment section. I want to know what you think. I want to know if you agree. I want to know if you disagree. I want to know what your favorite, what your top 10 was. Now, the way I'm figuring this out, the way that I came up with this is very, very hard. Believe me, it took me about 2 days to get through what I wanted to say for a top 10. Now, I'm looking at it as far as movies that were groundbreaking, movies that set a precedent and started a new mold. Sorry, I love Halloween. I love it, but they will not be in my top 10. They didn't bring anything new to the genre, and they were remakes of previously made movies. There's nothing wrong with that. They are phenomenal. They were very, very good. But for my top 10, I'm going to go with original movies, because one of the things we talk about in horror all the time is there's not a lot of originality. In this decade, we had a lot of original movies, a lot of great original movies. Now, again, this is my personal preference. I have not seen every single horror movie this decade. Doctor Sleep, unfortunately, will not be on this list. I have never seen Doctor Sleep. There were some other ones that if I don't mention them, that doesn't mean I don't think they were good. I probably haven't seen them. Out of what I've seen, this is my top 10 of the decade. Before I get started, let's get into some honorable mentions. Stakeland. Stakeland was a phenomenal movie that brought a brand new take on the horror, on the vampire lore. Never before have we seen a anticlimactic movie about vampires. That was phenomenal. Usually we see that with zombies all the time, but not very much for vampires. So that's that's one of my honorable mentions. Sinister. I love the way they did the found footage that was in the attic when he found those clips, and just the sound design on that was phenomenal, and the twist ending was very good as well. Brightburn, again, like I said, a superhero horror movie. When have we seen that before? We haven't seen anything like that before, and it was definitely groundbreaking. And Grave Encounters. If you guys have not seen Grave Encounters, check that one out. It's demon haunted house, but it took its own twist on it that still made it worth watching, made it fresh, and made it something new that could stand by itself. And last but not least, for honorable mentions, Get Out. Get Out was by Jordan Peele. Who would have thought somebody from comedy can come over and make such a movie the way that he did? Phenomenal movie. If you have not seen Get Out, check that one out. Now, let's get to the top 10. Coming in number 10, The Taking of Deborah Logan. Who would have thought Alzheimer's would be this scary? Taking of Deborah Logan came out of nowhere. We did not see it coming, and if you have not seen that, you have got to go check this movie out. It took a completely different twist on the demon trope that we have never seen before, and possibly will never see again. I happened to catch this one random day. I was flipping through the channels and it came on. Had never heard of the trailer and never heard of the movie, and when I saw it, I was completely blown away. Coming in number 9, Insidious. This is not the last we'll see of James Wan, but James Wan, after coming off of Saw, the director of the very first Saw. If you guys didn't know that, fun fact, James Wan is the director of the original Saw. On top of that, he comes up with Insidious and brought us to The Further, which is again a brand new trope that we had never seen before, and took a completely new and fresh take on the haunted house horror trope that we've seen pretty much run into the ground. There's a little bit of a haunted house, a little bit of possession type movie, but his direction just made it and spun it into something unique and something fresh. Definitely my number 9 of the decade. Coming in at number 8, The Conjuring. Again, I told you James Wan wasn't this wasn't the last entry. I was telling you, Insidious was not the last we would see of James Wan. James Wan took Insidious and raised it. The Conjuring is near flawless, and not just what The Conjuring did, but the Conjuring universe. You had The Nun from that. You had Annabelle. You had all these different movies that have stemmed from this one phenomenal piece of work. James Wan made the sound of clapping, the innocent sound of clapping, such a scary and just tense and tight sound that no one will ever forget again. Coming in number 8, The Conjuring. Number 7, Don't Breathe. Now, horror is supposed to play on all of our senses. It's supposed to touch all of our senses, good horror, and make us feel it, across the board. What we have never seen a movie with a protagonist, with an antagonist that was missing one of his senses, and he was still terrifying. He was absolutely terrifying. We had never seen anything like that. A burglary gone wrong. We had something similar like that with the Collector, the very first Collector, but not where the antagonist was blind. And the sound design on that entire movie was just phenomenal. The acting was phenomenal. The villain, the antagonist, was very, very brutal, very convincing, and it was a phenomenal movie. If you've not seen Don't Breathe, please put it on your list. See it as soon as possible. Coming in at number 6, Hush. Now, we just talked about the antagonist losing one of his senses. What about the protagonist? We've seen so many slasher movies over this time, to the point where they've been beaten to our head a little bit more than we might need to see them or want to see them. But Hush made it in a way that was fresh and inventive and exciting. A woman being stalked that is completely deaf. How insane is that? And we've seen people with all their senses get stalked down and do some dumb stuff to get themselves caught. This woman fought and survived and just continued to come after this guy that was coming after her. And it was just a brand new, fresh take on slashers that we have never seen before. That's my number 6. Coming in at so let's get to number 5. Number 5, Midsommar. Man, Ari Aster is phenomenal. Ari Aster is phenomenal. I have everything that he does from here on out. I'll be the first person to check it out. Midsommar was phenomenal. It's very, very weird. I have no problem. I mean, I'm not going to make any bones about it. It is a very, very weird movie. But never before have we seen a movie that was terrifying in broad daylight. You think of horror and you think of it dark and dank, and that's where all the villains pop out and all the horror characters come out and thrive in the nighttime when they can go into cover of darkness. Never before have we seen a movie deliver such fear, such gripping fear in broad daylight. The entire movie is bright and supposed to be happy, but what we're seeing is not happy. And he takes real life situations and makes them horrific. No one likes to go through a breakup. He took a breakup to another level, and to the way that you would never look at it the same again. That's my number 5. Number 4, Train to Busan. Guys, there are some that can't watch subtitled movies, and I understand that. But to those people, I would ask that you please make an exception for Train to Busan. Let me explain. The zombie horror movie has been around since 1932. That's over 80 years of zombie movies. We have seen everything from The Walking Dead to Zombie to Dawn of the Dead to Night of the Living Dead to Shaun of the Dead. Everything, 28 days later, 28 weeks later, every single thing you could think of with zombies or zombie-like creatures. You would think that it was all said and done and we couldn't see anything new and fresh. Train to Busan not only gave us what we wanted, but it elevated the zombie lore to a way that we have never seen before. I cannot say enough good things about this movie. If you have not seen Train to Busan, I believe it's on Netflix. I know it was at one point. It might still be up there. Check it, find it, and leave a comment in the section to let me know what you thought about it. Number 3, The Witch. Guys, I have never been in a theater and had that glued to the seat feeling the way that I did when I watched The Witch. I went to go see it with my brother the opening weekend. We saw it during the daytime on a Saturday. And when it was over, I had to peel my arms and peel my back off the seat. The direction was phenomenal. To take it into the Puritan setting, the acting, oh my gosh, the acting was insane, and it was some of the best acting I've ever seen. To the point where when the horror started, you were so gripped on the characters that it made it that much deeper. The I've never felt that experience that I felt in the theater before seeing that movie. That if you haven't seen The Witch, definitely a must see. My number 3 of the decade. Number 2, Dark Skies. Just like Train to Busan, Dark Skies had a very, very tough task. They were tackling the alien trope. We've seen plenty of alien movies, from The Fourth Kind to Alien. We've seen so many alien movies, but we have not seen them elevated in this way, to where they were used as a slasher. They were used as a Michael Myers style, and like a stalking Jason type style, and we have never seen that before. But just the way that they stalked the family, I mean, it was just phenomenal. If you have not seen Dark Skies, please also see that. My number 2 of the decade, and coming in number 1 of the decade. Did you even have to guess? Hereditary. If you guys have not seen Hereditary, man, what can I say about this movie? I've seen it probably 3 times now. I saw it the first time at Cinema Cafe with my brother, again early in the afternoon, and it just stuck with me. Kind of just like The Witch, the acting of the movie was flawless, absolutely flawless. Toni Collette should have at least been nominated for an Oscar for her portrayal. She went from this grieving daughter who lost her mother to this completely terrifying monster at the end. I mean, I just, wow. If you haven't seen Hereditary, watch Hereditary. I just can't say enough. I mean, to the point where the son in Hereditary, after making the movie, was not right for some years. He had to get counseling for what he went through in that movie. The movie you can't watch it and feel exactly the same. Now, there are some people that say it was a little too slow, and I will tell you, yes, it is slow. It does take time to build. It absolutely does take time to build, but when it builds, it hits you, and it hits you hard. The reason why I enjoyed the build was because the acting is so great from every single person in the movie. And never have you heard a clicking sound been made to sound so scary and be such a overwhelming scare factor of this entire movie. If you, again, I can't, I absolutely love this movie, and I hate it at the same time, because it is so engrossing. Top to bottom, it is one of the best movies, not just of this decade, that I've ever seen. Between the acting, between the visuals, between the sound, between the lighting, everything about it was just phenomenal. So there you have it, fanatics. There's my top 10. If you like the video, leave a like, share, and subscribe. Leave some comments. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know you guys how I can improve on these, because I definitely want to take this off and I want to get this huge. So, with your help, we can do this. And I want to know your top 10. I want to know what you thought. I want to know if you agreed with this. I want to know if you disagreed. I want to know what you guys thought. So talk to me, and we'll see you soon. All right.